They ate my brownies. They hung around the pool. They were wonderful, and they remain that way. This is a great day. It's a day to celebrate Tony and Eileen. And what an opportunity for us to all be together and share these stories, to look back on those times. They were great times. When David called me, he told me that he and his brothers were thinking of having an afternoon of remembrance for his dad. And I was really excited. I thought that sounded great. But I said to David, I really think that this should be an afternoon of remembrance for your mom and dad, for both Tony and Eileen. Because as we all know, with every great man, there's always a greater woman right beside him. And this was definitely the case with Eileen and Tony. It's really funny. I don't know if David remembers this, but my association with the family started about 15 years ago when David and my oldest son, Mark, were going to camp at Camp Bank in South Native. Do any of you remember that? And all I heard from Mark when he would come home from camp was about his new friend Dave. Well, we went to the family day when the parents came to see what the kids were doing at camp. And I knew at that point there was a great friendship that was beginning for all of us. So in September, my husband was building our house in Natick, and we moved up here. And the connection with St. Patrick's School, with the Natick Comets, and with the Leonard Morse Emergency Room became very tight. With 3 going boys, the visits to Union Street, whether it was at 48 Union Street in the office or across the street at the hospital, it really became very tight. Many people in this room started out as Tony's patients, but they eventually became friends for life. There is a young lady here today who is healthy, happy, and filled with boundless energy. But that was not always the case. One day, when she was 12 years old, and she was riding her bicycle home that's where I went, Wilson Junior High School, she was hit by a car. And she was severely injured. She was rushed to Leonard Morse Hospital and later to a Boston hospital. The prognosis by those doctors was not very good. She soon came under Tony's care, and he was very truthful with her. It was going to be a long haul with multiple surgeries and hours of physical therapy, but she was going to get better. Well, after many years of never giving up, she's an amazing woman today. She's a wife, a mother, a daughter, a friend to many of us, and always with Tony by her side. She and her family will never forget the guidance and support through this long, difficult journey. And finally, the amazing outcome. Rhonda, would you stand up so people can see you? Rhonda Darvin Connolly. And Rhonda tells us that she never could have done it without Tony. On a personal note, I'd like to share my story with you. You know, back in the 70s, nobody ever spoke of depression or mental illness. Assurance companies didn't even pay for hospitalization or for treatment of any kind. When it hit our family, I didn't know where to turn. Here I was, a young mom of 3 sons, and my husband Gino was a great guy. But he was slowly sliding down a dark hole into depression. What should I do? Well, I went over to my friend Eileen's house, and she plugged in the tea kettle, and we started to talk. And she said, Judy, go downstairs and tell Tony about this. I'm sure you all remember the office downstairs in the lower level of the house. Well, I did. And Tony listened, and he explained that there was nothing to be ashamed of. This was an illness like any other illness. He yelled out to Bert. Do you remember Bert, his secretary at the time? And he had her cancel his first couple of appointments. He sent me back upstairs to Eileen. We had a few more cups of tea. He called some of his colleagues until he finally got through to one who would take Gino on as a patient and get him admitted to a private psychiatric hospital before 5 o'clock that day. I forgot to mention, it was Friday of the Memorial Day weekend, and I knew that we would really be in trouble if Gino was not in a protected situation. The doctor was Dr. Ames Roby. He was a psychiatrist involved with the Boston Strangler case. He was amazing. He worked diligently, and he helped us get back to a healthy, normal life once again. I, like so many of you, am so appreciative of my relationship with Eileen and Tony. They really made a difference in my life. As time went by, Tony's father passed, and his mom was getting older. Tony felt it was time for Santina to come to reside with them in Natick. It was a great idea, but as we all know, Tony was very busy building his practice and helping the Leonard Morris Hospital grow with the times. It was Eileen who took Sandy to her doctor's appointments, to visit her friends, and to get her hair done. Through the boys' growing years, Eileen became used to filling in at the last moment, having to attend school meetings, family events, and oftentimes canceling vacation planned with their good friends because Tony was called into emergency surgery or had important hospital meetings. She didn't complain because she always said, I knew what I was getting into when I married a doctor. As we know, she did it all with grace. She never stopped being proud of Tony's accomplishments and his strong connection to the town of Natick. Through thick and thin, Eileen was always beside Tony, and the two of them were always beside us as our friends. You know, Eileen always dreamed of having a daughter, but she was very happy and very content with her 4 sons, their spouses, and their grandsons. Hats off to Tony and Eileen. They will always remain in our memory.